So for those who just moved in, we've been rolling here a little bit. We opened our regular meeting and then went into executive session. We just came out of executive session where we were considering the employment qualifications of specific individuals sitting in the front row all the way to the end, Mr. Carl Vollmer. After interviewing and looking at resumes, unanimously agreed that we would love to have him on our police force, and so we voted and all agreed to hire Carl. So welcome aboard, and I think it'll be a great addition, and welcome to Cold Spring. If we can do anything for you, we're here for you, so
And the same.
the doors are open.
Good luck with it, Carl. Thanks for coming
Thank you
in.
very much.
And thank you, Larry, for
Yes.
bringing Carl to us. And
You're working at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, get around, get your stuff.
See you in Moo-Moo's.
okay, next we have monthly reports, which are it's the summer months. I hope I will be sending out a little note to our departments, hoping that we can all send in reports. We let's start with recreation. Let's see. Submitted by Bruce Campbell, the chair. Recreation approved the following requests. June 21st, well, that one's good. July 9th, also good. July 16th, and August 20th, the Jack Olson, the Chamber, and the Bandstand concerts. So it says they approved it here, but that's also in our package. And I think
Yeah, I'm
that,
not quite sure why.
but anyway, it sounds like they approved it, so when we get to that, we can approve it also, or I don't think we have to. It says it's approved. And July 23rd, request for Mayor Park birthday party, William Cornley. Also included is inspection of park areas, waterfront dock area, paver work, Mayor's Park fence repair, Mayor's Park willow tree takedown, waterfront bench repairs. Estimates will be researched, and these areas will be discussed at our next monthly meeting. Planning, we do not have. Zoning, we do not have. Town of Phillipstown, Mr. Flaherty.
Right, quick report here. First, I'd like to say thank you for the July 4th festivities. I thought they were very nice. I think we got quite a few people down the dock. Good entertainment, fireworks were good, so. they did a good
Thank you
job.
for your help.
Yes, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. I'm glad I was able to volunteer a couple hours for you down there. So a couple of things we got going on. The Avery Road Bridge is just about completed. I don't know if anyone's gonna buy it, but it really looks good. The only thing we're waiting for on now is the guardrails, and by the end of the next 2 weeks, they should be 100% completed, and the bridge will be back opened up. Also, we're doing, as you know, we're working on the annex building for the building department. That's coming along well. It's all done inside, all the framing is done like that, so the addition we're putting on is in the process of being framed out as well. This past week, we authorized the purchase of a new international dump truck for the highway department, about a little $195,000. We also had a public hearing for the Continental Village Fire Department last week, and they're looking to get a new pumper truck, not to exceed $340,000. Then we also issued a parade permit for the Walter Holding House for a parade they're having, not a parade, but a celebration that they're having on the 15th of July. That's all.
So on behalf of the village, I'd like to thank you personally for helping out the volunteers. We made a call out and Bob came and was selling raffle tickets, so thank you there. Also, Carl Fessenden Highway delivered once again the stage for us, the stage trailer, which Carl says is the only thing it's used for, I believe. Maybe there's only one truck that can attach to it, so they had a little difficulty starting, but thank you to Carl, and also your donation. The town donates $500 yearly, so all of that, thank you very much. I think felt it was a real success. So thank you guys for making,
Thank you.
for chipping in. Historic District Review. I don't think we have anything. Putnam County. I believe we have anything. Do we have anything from Putnam County?
No, not
with,
really. I just, one other thing, we're working on a grant from Putnam County to help us out with the Vanderbilt Station Road. So
Right.
Barbara Scuchamar, just give us some information about it, possibly we could apply for.
I thought that was kind of wasn't a done deal? I thought that the monies were found.
We got enough, we got $0 from the county
Because we just received a letter for,
so far.
to back that also.
So we're gonna go ahead with the project with or without them, so.
Greg, do we have anything from Putnam County regarding our
In the,
herbicidal sprays along our waterfronts?
It's all in my report.
That's in your report, okay? That's good.
Exciting.
Cold Spring Boat Club, we don't have anything. I would like to thank some of the members of the boat club. They've started spraying and painting the cedar fencing that we put up, so they've got quite a bit done and have agreed to continue. We have to do a little more carpentry work to get that going, but thank you to the boat club members. And also for the July 4th, with the helps, pontoon boat was kind of a last, I wouldn't say minute thing, but they definitely helped, Frank from Legion Fireworks with the boat and loading the boat and use of their dock. And so thank you to those guys for that. Fire company, who I thought would be here, Steve?
And I have no report from them.
Okay.
I assumed they were coming.
Just a follow-up for the fire company, I did sit down with Dave Maroney today, and we went over kind of specs, so I had a better idea what we have to include in the specs for that. Also contacted Croton Home Center, and they'll be back in touch with me with, I explained the whole project and needed recommendations and actually materials, weights, and everything for the specs, so it's apples to apples. They got back to me right away. They need some more information, so hopefully tomorrow I'll hear back from them. Also, Jimmy Padala was called in. I guess the state did a once-over of the boilers, and I don't know what else they were inspecting, but there was a leak there, so we called Jimmy to look at that. And while he was there, I asked him to kind of assess the boiler and options for, either putting a new boiler in that just strictly for heat, or if we can work something out for an HVAC system. And, so I'll wait to hear back from Jim. I'll contact him tomorrow.
Anything on the whistle?
What's that?
The whistle.
The whistle.
The siren.
The siren.
Siren.
Okay.
I forget where that's at.
I thought that all was gonna
Yeah,
look at it.
Andrew was going to, and then he got into the 4th of July deal, so.
Yeah, that's the
So-
last I've heard of it. So we got a bid for the actual replacement of that thing.
Yeah, I think you brought it up in the last meeting.
Yeah. Gave Maria
Well,
Scared Marie.
I'll get back to Andrew on that.
$5,000.
Who also would like to thank Andrew, who comes down for the 4th of July and does all the electric, and with his guys, a couple of guys, and doesn't charge us anything, and sets us up, and then comes down and takes care of business. So another person that puts a lot of time in. Oh yes, the fire company and the fire company boat, along with the sheriff company, or the sheriff's department. They both furnished boats to help guard the float and the fireworks, or keep people at bay. So thank you to both sheriff's department and the fire company.
Volunteer ambulance.
Would go ahead and speak, Marie.
I'm just forwarding this to you.
No, we got a recap before the
Go ahead.
July coming up. We have a recap.
We have a recap of the 4th of July right down here, but is there something else I'm missing right now? Okay. Here. Parking committee, we have yet to get that going, which we have to. Tree advisory, we do have a report from Jim Zwarek, the chair. TAB held its monthly meeting earlier than usual this month, 6/14. We reviewed one new tree cutting application, held a workshop discussion with previous tree cutting applicant, as well as continuing our regular tree maintenance planning and beautification project administrative work, which continues with no pertinent updates. Highlights: TAB was notified by the village clerk that our application to the Arbor Day Foundation for status as a Tree City USA has been accepted and approved. This is not only a point of pride for our community, but also will give our village a few extra points on grant applications, which is quite helpful. We will update the board on next steps in celebrating this status next month. The TAB met in the first workshop with tree removal applicant at 230 Main Street to discuss tree replacement and planting plan. The applicant will still need to look over and agree to final costs of the agreed upon planting plan before he passed the application and our recommendation onto the Village Board of Trustees. We reviewed favorably an application for residents at 2 Kemble Avenue to remove a young struggling tree adjacent to the property and replace it with a different tree that will grow better on the site. We are waiting for the applicant to agree to replacement costs before passing the application on to the Village Board of Trustees for review. The fence painting at New Street property adjacent to the boat club is partially complete. We are waiting on word from the membership volunteers to schedule planting of shrubs and tree, which are still being cared for by the TAB members and holding area in the highway department lot. There is some issue with standing water in the area that may prevent planting on a portion of the site. The TAB suggests that the mayor or Village Board of Trustees may want to inspect the area to mitigate the standing water, which may interfere with use of the site and parking area. We received 2 tree cutting applications, which are in the process of being reviewed for completeness and next steps before scheduling a TAB public review. Marie Early at 16 Grandview Terrace is demanding permission, is requesting permission to remove and prune dead wood on village trees adjacent to her property. And Robert Plant of the Board of Springbrook condominiums regarding trees in the area around the brook that require Village Board of Trustee input regarding liability and insurance, etc. And then please find July suggested, is this out of order here?
No.
No, please find suggested work plan for your consideration attached. The work plan is highway department, tree maintenance, continue to fill watering bags on newly planted Main Street trees once every 2 weeks from mid-June through early September. And 2, tree maintenance, follow up with county on loaning of crew and equipment to adjust pressing tree removals. And if not possible, let the Village Board of Trustees know so that they can approve funding to engage a tree service to promptly do the work. Village Board of Trustees, please review letter application from Robert Plant representing the Board of Springbrook condominiums at 46 Fair Street and advise TAB on how to proceed. The applicant has been asked to forward a copy of the property survey delineating boundary lines and has provided contact info for the certified arborists who prepare the report they submitted with the letter of application. We will separately schedule a site visit to gather further information.
So there's no letter attached.
Right.
This
Nope.
is not a new topic.
No, it is not, although we don't know what they're talking about. We have discussed cutting trees
Why would we-
near the brook.
Why would we do that?
I have no
Well,
idea.
in the request of trees that were blocking the brook, we told them last year that that's their property and not ours.
Right,
I don't know
right.
if this is the same trees, and I know that Jeff did have something that Jen had handed him today, and she had asked him to give it to the trustee who was the liaison to the tree board. He asked me about that, I said, we don't have a liaison, so he was going to hold it back, because we realized that it belonged to this report.
I'll follow up with Jen being, for 2 reasons. One is the tree maintenance that she's referring to here. I don't know which trees that have pressing needs. And it would also be helpful to know which trees are on their list for pruning or removal in 2017-18. And I'll also find out whether this is, Springbrook is new or old.
Yeah, see the map and what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Code update?
The Code Update Committee held 2 meetings in May. The committee continued outline preparation and research into the 7 topics of the appearance category. The committee continues to make progress on area and bulk regulations in all zoning districts. The committee has reviewed all materials on 3-story buildings in the B1 district and should reach a recommendation in July. The committee has begun discussions on sign codes, both external signs and internal signs visible from the exterior. The committee has established the last week in July for the 2nd public meeting where the appearance category recommendations will be presented.
Thank you. Craig, Board of Water and Wastewater Department?
It's not in, just finished typing it about 20 minutes ago. Sorry about that.
Take one and pass it on. Oh. See, they're all mixed.
Yeah, they should be stipulated. My apologies.
That's usually the best part of me.
Alright, it starts off with wastewater. Everyone's got that top page. Probably I'll use the glasses in there. Okay. The sewer rehabilitation project, Fair Market Fish and North Streets. National Water Main Cleaning Company is planning to be on site beginning next Monday, July 17th, to start the lining process. They'll be posting notifications on doors of affected properties, letting them know the day and approximate time frame that their property would be without sewer service, so that there's a period of, say, 4 hours or so that nothing can be coming out of certain buildings, so that they can get that area and move on to the next type of thing. So everyone will be notified by that. I believe they're putting a notice in the papers as well. Notice also given to Cold Spring PD and emergency services to avoid any traffic issues in a potential emergency. They're only really going to be on Fair Street and then down below the tracks on the Market Fish and North Streets. They are aware of their substantial completion date of July 27th and feel confident with the timeline. Because of the whole thing where we got away from all that digging, it really streamlines their whole process, and so we save some time and some money, which is a good thing. Market Street Pump Station Replacement Project, our engineering consultant is reviewing the document submittals from King's Capital Construction Group Incorporated for their bonds, certificates of insurance, and MWBE utilization plan. He expects to be ready for a pre-construction meeting and to submit the contracts for signing in the next couple of weeks. And then on the wastewater treatment plant facility grounds on Fair Street, the first materials for the east wall of the blower building are scheduled to arrive this Thursday, and we hope we can get the construction of the wall by early to mid-August. We can get our contractors in line.
Wait, there's construction going on the east end of Northern Avenue. Is that village, and is it wastewater or water?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the school's project to get the their
the
building.
sewer
Yeah,
yeah.
today was they dug down to the sewer collection main where they'll be tying in.
Yeah.
And then they'll also be working on the water connection, and they're going to be, I just didn't hear clearly what you said. So they're going to start off on Northern to get that connection and work their way over. They're going to be boring from the Haldane property under Route 9D to the other side, so they're just trying to get in line to where they're going to finish as to when they bore across the other way. So
Thanks.
it's all going to be happening this week. All right, so that's that. If there's any questions on sewer?
But excuse me, should we send a note to John about
Yeah.
we will send that to John.
Go ahead.
All right, next up is the water department. We're still at max capacity, and we're getting those nice weekly rains that keep the wet stuff wet, and we haven't had to turn a valve yet, which is really good. You know, usually if we can make it into mid-July, you know, you only really have any July and August. It can get dry out at any time, of course, but generally it's July and August that we'd like to see. If we don't, the later we have to move valves, the better off things are. So that's where we're at with that. The Upper Reservoir Dam Rehabilitation Project. I forwarded a more specific outline regarding the status of Tectonic Engineering's work on the Upper Dam Rehabilitation Project to the board last week. The most significant note is that they expect to deliver the initial report to the board on 7/19, which I think is next Wednesday. There would be a period of review for you guys to take a look at things and develop questions, and then a workshop with you to discuss their findings, your findings, and questions and answers and all the good stuff. It's by no means a finished document, but it's gotten initial review by Bart and myself, and they've incorporated some of that, and then it comes to you guys to look at what that all is, and then, you know, we'll go from there. So that's the status of that one. The New York City DEP connection to the Catskill Aqueduct. We have been working to submit, and in many cases resubmit, documentation to the agency with regard to both a water supply agreement and a land use permit, which would allow us the ability to construct a permanent connection to the DEP supply on Frisco Road. It's back around again. We're up near the top of the pile. They seem to remember who we are, so those are all good things. They're taking our calls, you know, things like that.
Where would this be on Fishkill Road?
It's between it's basically just before, you got the town garage, you've got the one house before that, it's the property
It's
before
the
that.
one-
where
it's one up on the left.
Yeah, where you can see the stone.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. All right. Okay, popular topic. The use of herbicides on Fishkill Road. It was reported in the Highlands Current recently and further discussed on social media. The Putnam County Highway Department contracted with a company to spray herbicides for weed control along the guardrails of county roads, which includes Fishkill Road. The Foundry Brook, our conveyance of raw water from the reservoirs down, crosses Fishkill Road 3 times before reaching the Foundry Brook Reservoir where the treatment facility is located. Over the past month, we've been trying to get a list of the products used, the concentrations and application rates, and the name of the licensed applicator, etc., to have a clearer picture of what happened along our water course. We also sampled for one of the herbicides used, glyphosate, and we await the results of that analysis, hopefully within the next week or so. I spoke with Robert Morris, PE of the Putnam County DOH earlier today, after he had been in contact with officials at the regional level. I have also had contact with Barbara Scucciamara and Nicholas DePerno at the legislative level. The following statements, here's my disclaimer. The following statements are not submitted or attributed to any one person or agency, but are a consensus of opinions. First is, it is not expected that there is an issue in the water supply itself, and that the adsorptive qualities of the active ingredient inhibit the ability to wash off of vegetation once properly applied. And they're saying basically that's why, as you look at the area out there, you know, it's about 18 inches wide from end to end. It's browned out, and nothing around that. Basically, past that has been killed off because it's got a, you know, it's once it's applied, and we'll go with properly again. You know, it stays where it's at, supposedly. Okay, so that's the first thing we're talking about. And that's what. And it was the potential overspray at the crossings, the 3 of which we talked about, where I was most concerned, because it's not supposed to be near a surface water. It's in each one of the labels, it's described, but it's not supposed to be near surface water. Dilution, because if it's applied at the proper rate, which is quite low, all of which I would love to have because I asked for it June 7th. If we knew the dosing rates and the application rates of the sprayers as they went, we would have the idea of approximately how much, if there was overspray, you know, what types of quantities could make their way onto the surface water. And then we know quantities of water that are there, and then you have a good way of a better understanding what's going on. That's really all we've ever asked for. So we're going on the assumption at this point still, because nothing's been proven out, that all things being equal and applied properly, that there was a very small amount that would have come in contact with the surface water, and then dilution would have taken care of it, so there's no reason to be thinking that there's a health issue with it. I have requested that a written directive be given to Putnam County Highway Department that the use of herbicides along Fishkill Road be prohibited. And I think it'd be obviously stronger to come from you guys and hopefully the town and Nelsonville as well. You know, everyone who's got a stake in this, which is everyone, I think would love to be on board with it and just kind of make sure this doesn't happen again. It's not a long stretch of road where they can't be weed whacking instead of spraying. So, additionally, we're attending a source water protection informational meeting with New York State DEC and our neighboring municipalities next week. This incident is to be on the agenda. And then we will, as always, keep you informed of the progress. We're on this and other issues.
Have we ever seen this happen before?
It was used, it was brought to my attention by a resident last year. It was nowhere, I didn't see anything like what was going on this year. I made an inquiry to one of the road foremen, who's since retired, but it was that it wasn't going to be done again. And I left it at that. I mean, it's, you know, you assume that once you talk to someone you assume in charge of something, I didn't take it any further. So, you know, this year, as soon as we saw it, you know, the call started going out June 7th from my desk, and it was 20 days later before we actually got anything in hand that said what they used. And, you know, that was just, tough time realizing that they wouldn't take it a little more seriously when it's a public water supply. So, a little bit upset about that, but we'll get over it.
Where was the testing being done for the sample?
Entry point. Because, what's that?
Where is that?
The entry point is just this side of the tank. So your raw water is processed into the building, and the entry point for all of we test for, there's principal organic contaminants, there's specific organic contaminants, and the the SOCs generally cover a lot of the herbicides and pesticides, but not glyphosate. And so we added that to it and took it from there because that's the point that we're supposed to be taking.
When do you think we'll get the results back then?
Hopefully within the next week or so.
Do you think that the county would pay more attention to the results, or, you know, like how much?
I'm hoping they just pay attention because I don't think anything was done deliberately. We know it wasn't. It's just, it was an oversight, and you just like to see people kind of, mess up, fess up, and move along. And just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, it doesn't seem like that's happening from what you're saying. I mean, is it? Am I misreading or understanding what you said? They weren't really getting back to you about the whole.
Well, it's communication has been an issue. There's no doubt. We've tried several different levels and haven't gotten. Hopefully, we all get involved and get the official letters going and get some official responses once it's in writing. Because you can have 10 phone conversations, or I can have conversations with crews. And, if it's not in writing, I just don't believe it anymore. So.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's your report,
Thanks.
okay.
Next is our report for code enforcement. I have to say, I think things are working well. I haven't heard much. I've been in the office quite a bit lately, and there's a lot of action, a lot of direction being given by our clerk for applicants, and he's in touch, and Jeff's in touch with Greg Warner from Phillipstown pretty much every day. So I think everything's been working well with that. So the report is new building permits and applications received 34. This includes unprocessed applications from May, 4 not processed pending additional information, building permits issued 17, dumpster permits 2, COs 2, title search completed 3, referrals generated 9 to the HDRB and 3 to zoning, none to planning. Fees, application and permit fees collected $6,058. Title search fees collected $300 for a grand total of $6,358. Comments, approximate time spent in June by clerk on building department is approximately 20 hours. And then there's a need to evaluate Phillipstown versus Cold Spring fee schedule and determine which schedule should be used. So I think one of the problems is that Greg would like to align, just have one set of fees. Right now ours are fairly different in a few areas. So I did ask Jeff if we could get a side-by-side so that the board could look at it and look at what, some of it would be a significant increase to village residents for applications for mainly bigger construction projects. So
Is Phillipstown willing to lower their fees?
I don't think so.
No, and I think they actually just increased some of their fees. So
Maybe a sort of halfway in between kind of thing.
but they just upped theirs, so I can't imagine
But they
my
did.
guess would be that they wouldn't be willing to come down.
Well, one of the things is it's not people like usually that are getting permits aren't really, it's not like a repeat type of
No.
process. So if it's another $100, whatever, I'm not saying we should be gouging people, but I think it's something to consider to have one set of fees. So if we, I'll ask Jeff again if you could ask Greg for a side by side and get that to everyone, and we can take a look and see what changes would be made.
And whether or not they would be reasonable.
Right, exactly, yep. Next report of Highway Department, Fran, would you like to read?
I will. Garbage picked up and brought to the plant 66.30 tons, recycle picked up and brought to the plant 30 tons, painted sidewalks and no parking areas on Main Street, repaired the dry well on Constitution Drive, repaired a catch basin on Pine Street, cleaned up and organized property at the village garage, cut grass in the village, trimmed trees throughout the village, filled sinkhole in front of Mayor's Park gate, cleaned off the village office roof and gutter of leaf debris, nice. Filled potholes throughout the village, put 3 new trash cans and 2 recycle cans on Main Street, which we need to thank. Who bought the trash cans?
Carnival?
Thank you. Catherine Carnavaglio on Fair Street, who donated money for 2 new trash cans, or 3 new trash cans, and I believe we matched her, so there are 6. One came in incorrectly, so we're waiting for replacement, which, we've just been notified is it's en route. For the 4th of July preparation, they cleaned the riverfront, weed whacked the dock, trimmed trees at the waterfront, cleaned streets with the sweeper on the Bobcat, painted parking spots at the riverfront, put extra trash cans at the riverfront and dockside property, put fencing around the stage and highway department, and hung the banner and the bunting. This is from the highway department.
Does it contain the volume to tell?
This, yeah, this one, yeah. I would like to thank the highway department for working around the schedule on a Tuesday. Also, Ken Trimble and Zach, what's Zach's last name? Forgetting Zach's last name here, but both worked 4th of July day, and they came in at 3 and worked till after the celebration, and everything was pretty much spotless. I went down there really early the next day, and all the cans were emptied, and Dockside Park looked like, I think there were a bottle and maybe a napkin, and that was it. So those guys did a great job, so thank you to those guys. They also set up the fencing going around the trailer, so that was all set up in advance. And also Russ Terrio, who, timed his cutting, so we went down and cut everything. And I think the village also helped weed whack down at Dockside Park to make it look more presentable. So nice job, thank you guys. Police report, Village of Colchester Police Department responds to over 80 calls for service during the month of June. Officers issued approximately 51 parking violations to vehicles, including violations for overtime parking on Main Street. While patrolling the village streets, officers issued 14 moving violations to motorists for various vehicle and traffic infractions. There were 2 arrests for the month. One was a DWI, and the other was for return on a warrant for harassment. We are getting complaints about traffic infractions. I will continue to notify the officers about this issue and take appropriate actions. We still have 2 officers out on medical leave, and 1 officer resigned. I have 1 candidate that will be interviewing for the open position, which he did tonight and hired.
Let me just add to that, Larry told me today that, he had gone up to Albany and brought our radars up there to be recalibrated and repaired. That's supposed to be done every 6 months, and seemingly hasn't been done for a while. So all the radars have been recalibrated and repaired. And while he was up there, he convinced them to give us 1 free one, so now we have a new radar gun, I guess.
Excellent.
So,
Justice report, fines forfeited, bails and civil penalties, $3,265. Parking tickets, $2,690. Civil fees, $215. Mandatory state surcharges, $2,053. For a total of $8,223. Check in the above amount is submitted herewith. Respectfully, Thomas J. Costello, Village Justice. Next is consider Resolution 23, 2017, approving membership in the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance. Randy, you want to walk us through this?
okay, this should go with the next resolution,
Yeah.
which is also considered Resolution 24-2017, authorizing workers' compensation self-insurance. As we discussed and approved at our last meeting, we were changing our workers' compensation carrier from PERMA to New York State Comp Alliance because they are less expensive, and our agent Spain showed us both quotes and told us that the companies were comparable and there was no problem. So then when we received a request for 2 resolutions, we were asking why we needed to do a self-insurance resolution as well. Kieran Boyle at Spain sent this response, which I think is relatively clear. He says the self-insurance resolution is an acknowledgement that the village has elected to participate in a self-insurance program for their workers' comp insurance. Similar to PERMA, which is our expiring carrier, the New York State Comp Alliance is a self-insurance program in which all subscribers pool their premiums together to pay for the group's claims. Whenever you participate in a self-insurance program, the provider has to file the appropriate paperwork with the State Workers' Comp Board. PERMA also had to file similar notice. So the New York State Comp Alliance has to file the self-insurance resolution with the State Workers' Comp Board, as well as a resolution to accept them as a new carrier. That's why we have both resolutions in front of us. So should I make a motion to, let's start with resolution 23017. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23017, approving membership in the New York State Municipal Workers' Compensation Alliance.
A second?
Okay, this is a roll call.
Roll call. Tom, would you like to roll call it?
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Early,
Yes.
Mayor Morandi,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Voloto.
Yes.
And we have another one for you, Tom.
We have
Hang on.
one more. Make a motion to approve resolution 24-2017, authorizing workers' compensation self-insurance.
I'll
There's-
second.
There's a typo on there, Fran.
Okay.
Second full paragraph, resolved at the Village of Cold Spring. I'll give it to Jeff tomorrow. It's a punctuation error.
Okay.
It doesn't change the
Mhm.
sentence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, when you seconded?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Early,
Yes.
Mayor Morandi,
Yes.
Trustee Murphy,
Yes.
Trustee Voloto.
Yes.
Okay, correspondence, we've done a number of these. Whistling Willows requests to waive the 30-day advance notice in order to renew the liquor license. Comes with letter and the proper documents here. So I'll make a motion to waive the 30-day advance notice.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Why do we get these? Why don't people do their applications on time? I guess I have a problem with that.
Yeah, and I do too. I mean, I'll second this, but, you know, I believe it looks like his license expires in August, so we should be able to do the 30 days. I don't know how far in advance they have to actually file the paperwork, but this should have been done.
I mean, I have no problem with it now, but next year, I'm gonna have a problem with it. And it's not just this one. This is one of, I think this is the second one we got asked to,
Yeah.
the third
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Third.
People are just taking advantage of us for wasting our time.
Well, we should send a letter out to all people that are liquor licenses and say, going forward, get your act together.
Well, I think public notification is important on this too, you know, people, I don't think we have a problem with public drunkenness in the village, however, you know, people need a chance to speak up about this stuff, don't they?
I don't know that this is asking for no public notice. It sounds as if the law requires that the village,
Is that State Liquor Authority?
pardon me, that the village have a 30-day notice on it. I'll look into what it means, and as necessary, we'll send out letters to all liquor license holders in the village.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, request to pave over village property at 230 Main Street. This is the new house right at the corner of Cedar and Main. There's a diagram in here showing the small section. Right now, their sidewalk goes from their front door and then stops at where there's a row of cedars. They'd like to connect it to the sidewalk so that their mailman can have access, or easier access, I guess, to their house.
Well, what they're requesting, if I understand correctly, is they want to pave a portion of village property.
Right.
For their son. But I don't get a sense of how much they're asking, what amount they're asking, what amount of village property they're asking be paved.
Well, it looks as wide as a driveway on their
That's it.
overview here.
So it looks like they're gonna pave straight through between the trees. So it's a grassy area from what I
Yeah,
can gather, right?
yeah,
Pretty wide.
yes, I agree. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I can't tell whether that's 5 feet or 20 feet,
Yeah,
and whether the width is 3 feet or,
Okay, we'll get back to him and ask him for dimensions.
and also, what are they gonna pave it with? Are they gonna put
dimensions
pavers?
and materials.
I mean, if they're gonna put pavers down, that's one thing, if they're just gonna put cement or concrete or something, I don't know.
Okay. Next is a request from 224 Main Street to be classified as 1 unit for water sewer from the current 4 units. This is the house that was recently purchased. It was previously Montessori school with 1 apartment, and is now a single-family residence with no apartments. I believe they have 4 hookups, is that right? Yeah, 4 units. So they're asking not to be charged for that and to be put back to 1. So the letter is appreciate you taking the time to explain what's needed for the request this morning. That's the wrong one, that's the walkway. This letter is requests a reduction of unit bases, water sewer of the home located at 224 Main, to appropriate the billing through June 25, 2017 to the previous owner, Constance Winos. Currently, the home at 224 Main Street is on the books for water, sewer as a 4-unit home due to the home being operated as a school and single-family resident. As of June 25th, 2017, we are requesting that this residence be converted to a single-family, 1-unit building. This home is now owned by the undersigned below, Roger and Linda Hoffman.
They're asking us to appropriate billing through June 25th to the previous owner, but doesn't that have to do with when did they close on this purchase?
At least last month. They've owned it since at least last month. I don't know when last month they closed.
So, usually it doesn't have to get done at the closing, but the lawyers determine.
Yeah, but what they're also asking is.
They're asking for the reduction,
Right.
that much I understand, yeah.
Ann has probably already handled the water reading. In fact, that now can be done remotely.
See, very good. That makes it easy.
So, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the reduction in units for 224 Main Street from 4 to 1.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
David, question on, that stone wall by the Montessori school that fell out like about 10 years ago. And one time you said you had spoken to someone about giving us pricing on fixing some of those stone walls.
I haven't gotten it for that. I never got a price back. I looked over it with a contractor.
Yeah.
Well, that's past the month, sorry. That's down.
That was not even close, it's down the
Yeah,
next block.
down the next
2
block.
blocks.
It's in the middle of the blocks, in the middle of, 2 blocks, yeah. Down from Orchard Street.
I'll follow up with I'll follow up with Ann on the readout.
Old business is a recap of July 4th. We've done a bit of that already. I'd like to just thank, we put an ad in the paper, and I think Highland Current put one in, and kind of saying we were sending out an SOS for volunteers, and we had 11 people, I believe, that answered that, and which was great. We had a meeting with them, and Marie and I, and there were 2 people left from the Independence Day Committee, and we just dedicated, everyone had a dedicated job to do. Everyone worked together. I think it was great. I think the bike race, that we had the bike contest that worked. It was just a short run, but most of the kids were very young, so I think the shorter distance was actually probably appreciated by the parents herding them down the street. The bands, I thought, were all excellent. They did a great job. Legion Fireworks, after we went over all of the sites we thought possible on land, trying to find one that had the distances required. which turns out to be 300 feet or 350 feet for different size shells, and so, which takes up the whole park. And that's the reason why most of Dockside, if they fire them where they used to, isn't used, because that was 250 feet. And then they could only use a certain size shells, I believe 3 or 4. I'm not sure if that's the diameter or whatever. So anyway, we went over everything, and Frank from Legions came down and walked all the sites, including Mayor's Park with us, including the highway department, trying to find a place to fire them, and everything is just, had its drawbacks. So he called and basically said that he was going to fire them off a pontoon or a barge, which he had previously said would be very hard to do with the Coast Guard and coordinating. But somehow Frank pulled it off. He didn't charge us anything extra. He did cut down some of the fireworks, which I'm not sure if anyone noticed. I certainly didn't. And from all what I've heard walking in and out of the place, everyone was pretty happy with the fireworks. So
It was a great show.
So Frank did a great job, and I really went beyond, what, we're paying. Actually, I think he, had to organize, had to bring boats down and set them up and unload down at the boat club. And then had help with the boat club doing that, load everything on the barges and then bring them down towards Dockside. He also held up on firing them. I asked him to hold off till 9:30 because we were a little behind in bands, and he accommodated us there also. So a big thank you to him. And a big thank you to all the people. We don't have all the numbers in, but we had 50-50 raffle, and we also had people with donations, and that was successful. Like I said, I don't have the numbers yet for that. We'll tally everything up. We also had a lot of response from the merchants on Main Street who were generous, and we'll be getting thank yous to all of them, and we'll have ads in both the papers thanking everyone that was involved. I shouldn't forget, and they should have been the first person to be thanked, was Groombridge Games, who for the second year supplied most of the monies that, they supplied all the monies for the fireworks. So thank you to Kim and Nick, greatly appreciated. Kind of wrapping things up, we'll be starting as soon as we get some numbers back and settle some things, and have a post-mortem meeting, and try to start off and get everything set for next year. Maybe, it was kind of rushed this year once again. So if we start off, we can come up with some ideas, incorporate, have more incorporated in the parade, and maybe some options for kids down at the Dockside area, and go from there. So as a whole, I think it went really well, and you guys can chip in whatever you'd like to add.
The feedback I got from the other vendors is that it was a successful day. It was good.
The vendors that there were certain, yeah. Okay, well, that's kind of the wrap up. We'll follow up with numbers and also plans for next year, and asking more volunteers. I have talked to a few people that volunteered just for that day, and they said they would continue on, so we'll tap those people. Next, we have we had sent a request out to the sheriff's department. They have an inmate community work program. Jeff contacted them, or I think Jeff contacted them, and asked about work, and so they agreed to paint or stain the benches down at the riverfront. They're much need of staining, and there's quite a few of them if you count them up. So they'll be starting, I believe, tomorrow, sanding and staining the benches. So thank you to that program. That's totally beneficial. Thank you. Next, we have kind of an unusual one.
We missed the Chamber of Commerce.
The what?
The Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Well, we have the authorized Chamber of Commerce concerts, but that was already already approved by the Recreation Committee,
Okay.
according to Bruce's report. So.
Okay.
Further on that. Next, as I was saying, a little bit of an unusual one, a request for a block party for Church Street. This is from Drina Fagan. Attached is a list of signatures from the residents of Church Street in support of the late summer block party. We are missing 3 signatures due to neighbors being on vacation or unavailable when we were going door to door. We're happy to provide those as soon as they are available. Since we have a consensus on our block, we would like to proceed with making a request to the board. We would like to ask for village approval for either of these dates, Saturday, August 26th or Sunday, August 27th. Since the village has no guidelines for block parties, I have used the New York City guidelines for our proposal. We would choose, is a list of bullet points. We would choose a single day in August. Event is limited to a maximum of 9 consecutive hours on a single block. Hours for the party would be 12 to 9 p.m. Event is open to all neighbors on the block. This is not a private party. Other neighbors from the village are welcome to attend as well. There is no charge to participate. We will not sell food or any other goods or services. And we plan to have music and would need village permission to use amplification system. We would like for the village to close the street to prevent cars from entering Cold Spring from Northern Avenue, starting at 39 Church Street, home of Casey and Alex Grossman, to 9 Church Street, home of Phil Heffernan. This leaves vehicle access from 7 Church Street to Main Street for the fire department and for some residents and business owners on the Main Street end of Church Street to work there on Church Street to park their own cars on the road. Request that Church Street be marked with signage 24 hours in advance to reduce on-street parking, car parking. Residents of Church Street will be voluntarily moving their cars to driveways or other locations. Planned activities at the block party, another list of bullet points, basketball hoop at one end, volleyball or badminton on the other, no diving on the macadam, a small bouncy house owned by a resident of 17 Church Street, a lounging area, chairs and tables in the street for relaxing and gathering, music, including local talent performing on the above street deck of Chelsea and Danielle's home, 14 Church Street. Barbecue grills moved from backyards to the sidewalk for some grilling. Owners will be responsible to maintain the grill in front of their own property. Bake-off and other prep contests. Potluck food and refreshments. With village permission, a keg of beer, otherwise various drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, prepared from inside owners' homes. Sprinklers in houses, sprinklers in hoses, maybe a slip and slide. Other games to be determined. We hope that the village will give us permission and support us in throwing this family-friendly block party. Thank you, Drina Fagan, organizer, 19 Church Street. As you can see on the signature page, another 9 people will be co-planners.
So they will need to get an alcohol permit. It will be contingent upon that. They will need to provide a demonstration of liability coverage, holding the village harmless.
I think if they don't do the keg of beer, I don't think they need an alcohol permit if they're just, preparing drinks within their homes.
If they prepare drinks and drink them in their homes, there's no problem. But as soon as the alcohol comes outside,
Even if it's their own.
yeah, So, I guess we need to send them a letter stating that we permit the sound system.
So first, back to the liquor license, I think we have to find out if that's actually doable, if a street can get a liquor license, and also all the same as the insurance, if that's possible for a street, or how they've worked that. I think they should do the legwork on that. So I think we should get back to them and say you'd have to look into that, as long as everyone's fine with them having a keg of beer. And
Well,
if
it's an event, but
What's
it's
that?
not, it's an event, but it's on one of our streets.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's what makes it
Right.
different
Yeah.
than having it at a park or something where you get a normal permit.
Well, they would have
So-
to get a permit, right? I mean, our village has a no open canister law, I believe, but in addition, the New York State Liquor Authority requires that.
But I'm just talking about the insurance coverages, because it's in the village, it's not like having it at Mayor's Park and all
Right,
that.
right.
There's considerations for.
Yeah, and if they're gonna have a slip and slide in a bouncy house, can you imagine a kid in a bouncy house bouncing out of the bouncy house?
That's, yeah, on the pavement. Maybe it's in somebody's yard. No one really has a yard on that street,
So I'll talk to Jeff tomorrow and see.
Okay.
We'll get
One
that
other
sorted.
thing that we should include in this letter is making sure that there are fire extinguishers adjacent to the grills, because with a bunch of kids running around, a bunch of grills out there, it's really easy for them to get knocked over. People can get burned.
Do we need to have extra police on duty, or just block off the street?
I think we can just walk up the street. I think, I mean, we'll also run this by John. I think we should run it by our attorney, make sure it's fine. I mean, I guess if they can, secure insurance, then it should be fine.
We'll also need to notify Larry.
What's that?
Also need to notify Larry.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And the fire
Yeah, the fire
department,
company. Yeah, the fire
in case they
company.
don't notice it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to, you know, in case of emergency, they have to, all understand, come in from Main Street, because they usually.
Well, they're saying they're not going to block off that end.
Right,
They're
don't
stopping.
they usually come from Northern into,
No.
Which way is
the
that
trucks?
street?
Trucks go out onto
but
the.
I mean, if you get a call in your house and you're running to the firehouse, where do they park on the side, but they're coming from Northern towards Main.
right, they'll have to park
And they're
another
personal
way.
cars,
Oh,
so now they have to come in from
Different.
I think they should have, if they weren't planning on it, they should have some kind of barriers on both ends, and the one on the one side should allow for the parking that's used for
Well, yeah, that's what they say.
TV and those.
What they
Right.
typically do in Brooklyn, and since block parties are big in Brooklyn, is they'll just park cars across at the end of the street.
you don't want them to do that, right? Because if you have an emergency, you need to get
Slip the guardrail.
an emergency vehicle in there. See somebody gets seriously hurt, and you need to bring an ambulance in. You don't want cars blocking. So what they say is that they're going to, from Seven Church to Main, is not going to be part of the party.
But they also say Phil Heffernan's, and if you go to Phil Heffernan's, the other side, that's the end of the fire companies, which then,
Right.
Yeah, it'll have to be a guardrail you can move, or a cone or something.
Yeah, or just string rope across with flags or whatever.
okay, well, let's ask them if they would, check into liquor license, if they would like to pursue that. And even, and they have to do it if they're gonna have alcohol, and they're gonna be on the
Event
streets.
insurance.
What's that?
I think they call it event insurance. It's like a 2-day policy
Right.
or 1-day
Yeah.
policy or something like that.
So you follow up with that, Marie?
I will.
Okay, thank you. Okay, approval of bills.
I move to approve batch number 4152 for a total of $40,000. Sorry, $40,970.07.
Seven,
Two cents.
Ah, I'm sorry. Okay,
which is
2 cents.
2 cents.
$40,970.02.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Yes.
senior picnic.
Senior picnic.
Senior picnic.
Let's not talk about that tonight.
Just think of a date.
Is that in August? When was it last year? That was August, was it end of August?
If it's gonna be August, it's gonna be late August.
And I move to adjourn.
Actually,
Well,
I
we
have
didn't
one
have
thing I
public
would like to
comment.
ask. Oh, public comment.
What's that, yeah?
I have one thing I'd like to ask the board. I've been in contact with Faith Dale Supple, the granddaughter of Francis Dale, who built our bandstand and established the Cold Spring Musical Society. She and her family are kind of narrowing down their plans of the plaque that they would like to install next to the bandstand. And she asked that we waive the building permit fee because their family is donating this thing and it's a particular interest to the community.
So they still have to get a building permit, and they probably have to go through the HDRB.
Yes,
And
and
they're just asking to waive the fee.
yes.
Where are they planning to put it? Like in the ground against the
Yes, it will
bandstand?
be like, from the mock-ups that I've seen, there will be some historic pictures and some captions. And it will be a plaque similar to the other plaques that are kind of established down there at the dock already. You know, it'll be like bronze framed and kind of freestanding thing.
Freestanding?
Yeah, it won't be attached to the bandstand, but kind of like on legs.
Can you ask them if they have some more information or illustrations of what they want to do? This sounds like different than
You know,
we discussed quite a while ago.
well,
They'll have to provide that as part of their building permit application to go to the HDRB.
right.
Well, before it goes to HBR, or, okay, that's fine, I just think that would be something that it was brought to our attention first, or brought to us for us to approve, so we should be the ones that continue to approve it before it goes there.
Exactly, but they were just wondering, since they're
I'm sure it's what is it,
contributing this
$60 or
thing to
something
our-
for-
Something like that.
I'm fine with that, but I would like to see what they're doing before they move forward.
yes, well, I
It
mean, they
sounded
have
like
to
a
have.
small plaque on the bandstand, that's what I
That's what I
thought.
Oh, okay, well, their ideas are different.
Okay,
So-
well, you can't change your ideas and get approvals early and then change your ideas, so.
Well, I know, they haven't even, I've been kind of walking her through this, and it's been like going in these sort of elliptical things, you know, like herding cats kind of, but,
Tie your legs and don't
Yeah.
let her elliptical anymore.
Right.
And see if you can get an answer for us,
Yeah.
so we can move ahead.
but, they were, are we okay with waiving the?
Yeah, once
Yeah.
we see, but I'm not gonna wait until we actually see, can we, yeah, we're okay with
Okay.
that, we're not gonna vote on that now, but-
Conceptually, we
Yes.
would think.
Okay.
We'd like to see where this is evolved.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll
Anything
let
else
her
from
know.
anyone on the board? Anything from our reporters?
Doug Cunningham. Were there dates attached to that block party?
What's that?
Were there
Yes.
dates attached to the block party?
In August.
25 and 26.
26.
Oh, 26 and 27.
In July or August?
It's a Saturday or a Sunday.
Anything new on the Nelsonville fire thing?
No, a check was delivered, and on advice from our attorney, we're not cashing that. We have a letter that's almost finished today, hopefully get it out tomorrow, requesting from Nelsonville to continue discussions, and the check was, the way it was sent was saying it was a specific portion of a full payment. So if they'll agree that it's a portion of, but not a specific portion of, then we can cash that, and money then could be directed to the firehouse after that's deposited, and then we can, go over some of the points that Nelsonville had brought up, which will also be in this letter that's being drafted. They had 3 points that they brought up, so we will answer those 3 points, hopefully. Don't know if it'll be to their satisfaction, but at the very least, we'd like to continue discussions and have, release the money to the fire company. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.